G'day guys, it's Calvin from the Cartoon Company in New Zealand. Today I'm going to be checking an ECU and checking the outputs or the commands from the ECU to the transmission solenoids. I'm using a UCF20 non-VVTi 4-speed. I wanted them backwards.
Backwards?
Yeah, I wanted them backwards. Yeah, I wanted them backwards, thanks. And as you can see, the car drives, starts, runs like it should.
Can you make that mirror go out then?
Yeah. As I've popped some test wires in, this white wire that's nice and close is going to option earth, and that red wire is going to solenoid 1, and the white wire is going to solenoid 2. This is part of my wiring information. There's S1, there's S2. This is UCF20 non-VVTi. We've also got the line pressure solenoids and the lockup solenoids at the top. I haven't tapped into those at this point in time. So my red LED here, and this is powered up, so the solenoid output comes to the positive and the negative goes to the negative, because this is a positive output on the shift solenoid from the ECU. And you'll see here I'm in neutral, and solenoid number 1 is actually powered up. Reverse, solenoid number 1. Park, solenoid number 1 is powered. Now back into drive. Did you see that? Watch this. Right, I am on the hoist. So that is in first gear. Solenoid number 1 is powered up. It's not going to change because I've got it locked in first. Right, we've moved into second position on the shifter, but it's still in first gear and would allow us to go from first one solenoid on, and the second solenoid number 2 should turn on. Number 1 is still on, that is second gear. So it's back in first, solenoid number 1 is on, number 2 is off. Right, here we have, we're back in first, but I'm allowing it to go to third this time. First gear, second gear, and now solenoid number 2 will stay on, number 1 will turn off. That is third gear. I'm going to shift it into overdrive or fourth, and we'll see it shift into overdrive. Once I get the speed up, there we go. Now it is in fourth gear or overdrive. And we also have lockup that comes in above that. I'm sitting doing 100 k's an hour. Jason's asking me, he's suggesting that something's happening. Well, Jason, what's happening? Are they not? Are they just only like loosely on? How many wheel nuts are back there?
There's missing wheel nuts up there, remember?
How many are missing?
Some, can't remember.
Jason suggested I should put a wheel nuts. I think we were rating them for something else. And I did see some wheel nuts. So I'm just going to put some wheel nuts on, and we'll come back and I'll show you that again. And then I'm going to, maybe I'll plug the replacement ECU in, and I'll do the same test again with the replacement ECU. Alright, so I've plugged in the replacement ECU that we're testing. Still my little leads attached. And here we're going to go through that same test again. What I'm going to do this time is I'm just going to slip it back into drive. As you can see there, it's in first gear. I'm just going to bring the revs up. I've got I'll probably bring these over here. And so we're travelling now, we're at 20 kilometers per hour, and we just switched into second gear. For both the solenoids, S1 and S2 are on. So next we're going to expect to be just S2, which is the amber. There we go. So now it's in 3rd gear, and we bring it up a little bit more, and it'll pop into 4th gear or overdrive. You see it's not going into overdrive. So we're back to 1st gear there. 2nd gear, 3rd gear. This one is in poor health. Now that ECU, there is a history to it. It was jump started on the wharf after it was imported from Japan into Cyprus. That's the country Cyprus, and somebody put the jumper leads on the wrong way, or the booster pack, and fried it. There was a repair done in Cyprus that got the car going again, so it would actually start and run, but it didn't have all gears. And I was told it was 3rd gear. But there's lots going on in my little head, so but we certainly know that it isn't getting one of those gears, which is, in this case, by my testing, is 4th. So fortunately I had plan B, which is another repaired ECU. They're very hard to get hold of, the 50380s. Extremely hard to get hold of. They are the last of the Celsior ECUs, no EGR, and the best firmware, and they go the best. So it's the last of the non-VVTi Celsius, and quite a sought after ECU, that 50380. Let's see if this next one is going to behave. It's not, because I've moved the earth. Alright, let's go through that process again. So we've got, we're in 1st, so S1, solenoid one is working. I'm going to shift it, gears. So I'm in drive. We should see at about 20 k's an hour, just on light throttle. We go into 2nd, there we go. And of course the throttle, or the gear changes are altered by the amount of throttle I give, the throttle position, and the amount of load on the engine. First, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So that is ECU is functioning as it should. I think while I'm here, I'm going to have a very, very quick look at SLU and SLT, which are the line pressure and the lockup solenoids. So we're just going to have a very, very quick look at those. Right, this time I'm in the SL or SLN. SLN is line pressure, and you can see it's glowing just a little bit. What you'll actually see is you'll notice on the LED. I'm using my test lead that I use for testing injectors, so it's just a basic LED, a few dollars from the parts store, and you'll see it changes in brightness. Especially as the other two change, it goes brighter and then dims off. An LED isn't the ideal way to test it. We're actually better to test it with a little oscilloscope. Well, this might not mean a whole lot to a whole lot of people, but for those that understand patterns and waveforms. So we're just going to watch this pattern. And what we'll see is see a change in the frequency as it changes gear. So that's lots of line pressure there. And when it goes wide, and you see as it changes gear, we'll try and bring it up. You can see the pattern changes. And that's it dropping line pressure to soften the gear changes. It's got normal line pressure. And these have also got a line pressure cable on the transmission that runs down to the transmission. Some people call it the throttle cable to the transmission. That's acceptable by Toyota, but it's not a kickdown cable, okay? It's not a kickdown cable. It's a line pressure cable. So as the throttle increases, as your throttle angle increases, as you push your foot on the accelerator, that cable increases the line pressure on the transmission. And the line pressure solenoid, SLN, pulses and reduces that pressure to improve shifts when you are changing or soften the shifts. Right, let's do the lockup as well. So here we have the lockup solenoid. So again, it's getting pulse width, but it's not actually engaged. There's no lockup at the moment. We're in first gear. Now these solenoids can actually take a full on off. They don't crap out, and that's how we do them in our manual shift boxes. I'm just going to bring the revs up. So first, second, third, overdrive or fourth, and then at a certain point, at a certain speed, which is just above 40 kilometers per hour or 50, we will get a lockup. It's not there yet. We're coming up to 60. There we go, there's our lockup. That's the lockup coming in. So when it goes wide like that, that's with the lockup in. I'm showing 80 k's an hour, but if I do this, I touch the brake, the lockup comes out. And you see it slowly, when it comes in, it doesn't just come in all at once, the lockup, it gradually brings the lockup solenoid in. Put on the brake, drops off. I'm slowing down, so the throttle position isn't high enough for the lockup solenoid. And that's locking up the torque converter in the transmission. That's fully locked there. That's 100 k's an hour in lockup. Put on the brake and it falls off. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check the lockup with just a basic test light with this basic LED. And what we should see is we should see it go a bit brighter. Oh, I'm not sure the camera's going to bring it up. There it is, growing brighter. That's lockup on. There's lockup off. There we go. Lockup off, lockup on. So you can use your test light to see it, and you watch the brightness of that LED increase and decrease in and out of lockup. You don't need the oscilloscope if you want to get a good indication of whether it's working or not. And if you don't want to jack it up too, go for a drive down the road. Put the pins in, drive it down the road. And this applies to SC400s. Actually, it applies to SC300s as well. Heaps of Toyota boxes, LS400s, early ones. Just got to go into the right pins in that ECU. And I've got all that information in my wiring instructions anyway, which I sell, which are designed for doing swaps, but it helps for doing diagnosis like this as well. So that computer, that ECU is functioning as it should. Runs the car nicely, and it shifts all gears in the transmission, does the lockup, and of course the line pressure solenoid is working like it should. Fortunately, that's backup number 2. Unfortunate the main one wasn't repairable. We did our best. I'm never a fan of repairing ECUs when someone else has been in there first. So our repair guys looked at it and went, oh, we'll give it a try. But there is a chance that it's got a component issue in that ECU. Right, I'm done. Hopefully that was helpful in explaining the commands and how to check it as well. Lots of guys have problems with their transmissions. It's really quick to put it up on some jack stands, plug in, check the commands, and I'm using, until I use my oscilloscope, but the actual test lights I'm using are worth a couple of dollars. Bit of wire and some extra terminals.